What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Paper Planes channel. I'm your host, Sean, and this is my The Night Before movie review. The Night Before is a comedy about three lifelong friends named Ethan, who's played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Isaac, who's played by Seth Rogen, and Chris, who's played by Anthony Mackie. 14 years prior on Christmas Eve, Ethan's parents were tragically lost. This event brings the friends even closer as they form a sort of holiday ritual to keep the spirit of love and hope alive in Ethan. A jump forward and 14 years have passed, and as it often does, life finds a way to shake things up a bit. So the friends have decided that this would be the last year of the ritual. So for the remainder of the story, we're taken along this journey as the three friends try to make this the best last night before Christmas ever. Okay, so now that you know a little bit about the movie, I first off want to say if you're thinking about seeing this with your parents, someone that you do not want to see full frontal male nudity with, beware. It's going to happen, and happen a lot. Alright, so let's talk about the beginning of the film. It basically opens up with this nostalgic type holiday feeling, which is essential, and I think it carries the movie throughout, and I'll get to that a little bit more later. But it gives us some backstory on the characters, and then we're going to progress to the now, 14 years in the future, which is basically where the movie takes place for the majority of the time. Every once in a while they'll do a little callback, but you're going to be in the present time for most of the film. And this is important only to set up some backstory for the main characters and why they're doing this holiday ritual that they annually do. Okay, so the fun really starts to begin when we get to Seth Rogen's character, Isaac. And basically, he has been a rock for his wife. So she rewards him with an early Christmas gift, which you'll see in the trailers. I'm not spoiling anything. She hooks him up with a gift full of drugs. It's basically like a cornucopia of drugs. So basically, when Isaac starts getting really messed up on these drugs, lots of funny things stem out from that interaction. So it's really the driving force in these situations. There's also this kind of hidden character that I really love in the movie. His name is Mr. Green, and that's all the information you're going to get. If you're anything like me, you're going to be happy to see this actor's involved at all, but the way that the character's played, it's flawless. It's such a great change of pace for what's going on in the film, and it helps transition them from place to place. Also, another thing you can look forward to, and I think you guys are probably conditioned to this by seeing Seth Rogen films, you're going to see a lot of cameos from famous people, and whether or not you like these famous people, it's not really relevant. It doesn't change the feeling of the movie. They're just kind of there, and funny things happen with them, and it's not a big focus on them. But there is this one cameo that I loved. They set it up ingeniously. I think if you were really focused on trying to nitpick at the movie and trying to find certain cues and things like that, you might understand what's happening before it does. But I wasn't. I was just there to enjoy and review and give you my personal opinion. So I think as an average moviegoer, whoever's going to see this film, they're going to be pleasantly surprised by the little trickery that they do to you when it's revealed who this character is. Alright, so I'm going to talk about some of the weaker points now, and one that jumps out to me is when they try to force a laugh on you. As a moviegoer and as an avid fan of comedy, live comedy, scripted shows, improv, whatever, I always find that the worst thing is when a joke is forced, where you can see it coming a mile away, and it never gets the result that you want. I think in general, people like natural kind of interaction, things that just come about as they would be, and they just tend to be funny that way. When a joke is forced on you, it just seems too scripted and flawed. And I think that that's what you get here, specifically when they do the Home Alone joke type reference. There's a scene where Chris is chasing a character, and she throws some micro machines on the ground, and he trips on them. And he's like, "Oh, she Home Aloned me." I mean, it's not funny at all whatsoever. And they put it in the previews, which I'm like, okay, normally they try to bait you in with previews, but that one was just so cliche and I think just terrible. Nobody in the theater laughed at that. And a lot of the times I think when they probably did the advanced screenings, people probably laughed at the parts that they thought they were supposed to laugh at because they're there being watched and they're like, oh, ha, 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 yeah, funny. But no, it's not funny. They need to stop doing stuff like that. The natural interactions really carried the movie and made it funny. There are some laughs. You're not going to get a ton of laughs like you might expect when you go to see a movie like Pineapple Express or This Is the End. I mean, if you didn't laugh at those movies, then you're probably not going to laugh at this movie. but you still might enjoy it. And that kind of wraps around to what I was getting at about the nostalgia feel. Yes, this is a comedy, but it's a holiday movie at the same time. And I think it's perfectly mended together in that way. There are these moments where you're going to laugh. I laughed a fair amount of times at this film. I think I'm more of a skeptic when it comes to comedy. I like more of a dark style comedy. So when I go to see a comedy in the theater, I'm always a little bit wary. I'm like, am I really going to laugh? Because it takes a lot to make me laugh outwardly. I might enjoy it, but I might not be expressing it. So when something makes me chuckle, like this movie did at times, it's really doing a good job. And most of that was because I actually cared about the characters, because you have this happy feeling about the holiday nostalgic. So that is really key for this film. I guess if I could change one specific thing about this film to make it better in my opinion, I would have made the character of Chris more of a comedic relief. I think you've got these three main characters, and one of them is clearly comedy, and that's Seth's character Isaac. Now, you've got the main character, which is Ethan, and that's played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and he is really the driving force of the story. He's your protagonist. He's the one you want to see win out. I'm not really going to tell you all that much about what his journey is, but you are on his side. You want good things to happen to him. He seems like a nice guy. He's going through struggles, and you want to see his journey come out in a positive way. So you've almost got that Frodo and Samwise kind of thing. And then Chris is almost like on the outside of that. He's an athlete, super successful. They don't make him very good. I mean, he's got redeeming qualities, but he's also like a sellout. He's a cheater, not on women, but he probably would, because he's like down to fuck pretty much anybody apparently. So, I mean, the character, you want to like him. He seems like a nice guy. Like, he's good to his buddies and he's good to his mama. So, like, you like that character, but they don't make him interesting in any way besides like his negative things. And so he doesn't really fit the mold of what I want to see in this buddy film, so to speak. So I think if he was a funnier character, maybe if they wrote him funnier, or if they just cast an actor that was more of a comedic actor, I think it would have played better. Because if you have the two comedic people and then you have the one straight man, which is Ethan, then it plays off a little bit better, because Ethan is always the norm, and then these other guys are just silly characters, which only is a negative thing in this aspect, because I was constantly wanting to see Seth Rogen on screen. And they have this separation at points where you're following other characters and he's not involved, and you're kind of like, okay, it's not really funny anymore. I'm here for a comedy, and you're just wanting more of that. All right, so my final verdict on the film, I'm going to say it's a 7 out of 10. It's a solid comedy, holiday, nostalgic piece. And if you're going to go see it, I really suggest seeing it with a group of your buddies. It's probably best received in that way. It's still going to be funny if you see it with your family, but like I said, there's some penis. So if you don't want to see that with people, then don't go with those people. If you're just with your buddies, you're probably going to have a much better time. All right, that's it for this review. If you guys have any suggestions on things you'd like me to review in the future, please leave that in the comment section below. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel and follow me on any of my social media sites you can find directly below this video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.